Hey Shelby Bells, it's Shelby. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in for another video. In today's video, you guys, I know we've been talking about him for the past couple videos, but we're gonna do it again because he just will not stop, girl. We're gonna be talking about Def Noodles. I just have a couple things to say about Def Noodles. I just have to get this off my chest. I feel like he's not taking accountability for any of his actions. The cats, clearly you can hear them. They have some thoughts too. I want to share it with you. If you're interested in hearing more about my thoughts on all that drama, make sure that you keep on watching. Before we get into today's drama, if you are new here, my name is Shelby. I'm the crazy cat lady of the drama community here on YouTube. I bring you videos 7 days a week about all of the YouTube drama, celebrity gossip, news, random commentary stuff I might be interested in, all kinds of random drama, commentary, gossip stuff, 7 days a week with the help of my investigative research team, Mr. and Miss Kitty. Mr. Kitty's right here. You can hear him. He is the looks of the operation. Let me pick him up for you so you can see him. This is Mr. Kitty. He is the looks of the operation. He is the face, you guys. He loves to say hi to you guys. He loves the attention. He's a beautiful Maine Coon baby. We also have Miss Kitty, who is very, very talkative, but she's a little more camera shy, so you don't really see her as much. Anyway, these guys are my investigative research team. They get the tea for you guys. They find all the receipts. All the receipts on my channel are approved by Mr. and Miss Kitty. They're here to provide us with the tea. Isn't that right, Mr. Kitty? Right, baby boy? You love it so much. Okay, so he's got so much to say about Def Noodles. I already know. He's been waiting for me to come home for a while. I just got home. He's been waiting on me to come home so he can dish a tea about Def Noodles. But kitties, let me tell him what to do before that. Okay, so if you are into this whole thing, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel down below. Don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified of all my future videos when they do post. Remember that all Shelby Bells ring the bell. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, Mr. Kitty, what was that, baby? You had some thoughts on Def Noodles, baby, right? Okay, yeah, okay, so Mr. Kitty wants me to tell you about the Twitch stream. Okay, so Def Noodles, but I know Mr. Kitty, I'm gonna tell him everything that we talked about before. Okay, so Def Noodles had a Twitch look. He's like, Mama, tell the story. Def Noodles went on a Twitch stream the other day, and he was basically kind of talking about everything that happened. If you are not caught up on this drama, you guys, Def Noodles has been in so much drama lately. I'm like, let me rewind and fill you in. I know, Mr. Kitty, I'm gonna do it because the thing is, some people just still don't know the drama. So I'm gonna fill them in, and then we'll talk about the Twitch stream. I promise. Okay, Def Noodles has been in a lot of drama lately. He got into it with another creator on the YouTube sphere named Papa Gut, and that it's basically derailed his YouTube career, if you will. So Papa Gut is a creator who speaks out a lot about SA and the R word and all that stuff, and stands up for victims of SA and all that. Well, Def Noodles said he looked like a P word, someone who likes children, basically. Def Noodles has not backed down despite a ton of criticism over saying that about Papa Gut. Papa Gut is very upset about it. Def Noodles, Dennis went, ow, Mr. Kitty, ow! Mr. Kitty is like, tell them the tea, Mama. Mr. Kitty, I can't tell him the tea until I give him the backstory, okay, Mr. Kitty? So you just need to, he's like digging his claw and like, Mama, tell him the story. I'm getting to it, Mr. Kitty. I'm getting to it, baby, okay? Oh my God, he just tried to come get me. Miss Kitty, what do you have to say about this? I told you he's the face of the operation. He's got to be the face of the operation. He loves to be held, loves to cuddle, loves to snuggle, and he wants to be up here while we talk about the tea. So here we go, okay? He's going to be up here while we talk about the tea. Okay, so anyway, Def Noodles went so far as to make a shirt, you know, mocking a kind of like a screenshot of Papa Gut's face while he was crying, while being upset over the SA story he was hearing about his wife and stuff. It's just a very, very emotional, like, thing that Papa Gut was talking about when this screenshot was taken, and Dennis made it into a shirt, and it was very, very insensitive. People all over the internet, Def Noodles fans, other creators, everyone has been kind of saying like, Def Noodles, hey, you are kind of off base with this one. Like, you need to kind of apologize and think everything that you're doing here. And the thing is, Def Noodles just keeps saying, I'm a comedian, I'm a comedian, and he wants to get away with everything that he's doing because he's a quote unquote comedian, right? Mr. Kitty's looking at me, he's like, I already know, Mom. He's so sweet. The thing is, Def Noodles keeps saying that everything he is doing is because he's a comedian. He can say what he wants because he's a comedian, and you just have to understand the humor, and if you don't get it, then you don't understand the humor. Well, with much respect to Def Noodles, okay? He is a large creator in this atmosphere, and, you know, he has put in the work and stuff to get where he is and all that. And I just have to say that I feel like the message of him being just a comedian, quote unquote, is kind of skewed, because like if you look at his Twitter, like tweets and Instagram posts and stuff like that, he will report on actual serious news. Like, I'll give you an example. So he posted this tweet about the state of emergency that's been issued in California, which is, by the way, where Def Noodles lives. He lives in LA. He made a tweet about it, and it absolutely was not funny at all. It was just kind of reporting the news on what happened. And so I made a tweet, and I was like, hey, is this supposed to be comedy or is this supposed to be news? Like, do you see how the message is skewed here? Because there was no comedic anything in that tweet. It was just the news. And so I'm just confused, because I'm like, you say you're not a news source, you're a comedian, but in this tweet specifically, you are clearly delivering the news. You're clearly delivering news. So I'm just confused as to what we're supposed to think as an audience, because you're saying one thing, but then your actions of what you're doing are just a completely different thing. So I tweeted out, and if you are familiar with how Def Noodles tweets, then you'll understand this. If you're not familiar with how Def Noodles tweets, then you might not get it, and that's okay. But I tweeted out, I was like, who could have seen this coming, : Def Noodles is reporting the news. And it's because it's satire and sarcasm, because Def Noodles oftentimes reports stuff like this that is clearly just news topics. And that's why he was saying on and on and on and on and on that people cannot take him seriously when he says stuff like Papa Gut looking like a P word, because he's a comedian and not a news source. But you're here reporting actual news with no comedic underlay in the entire message that you put out. And we're supposed to, like, what are we supposed to believe? What are we supposed to believe? Because there's clearly news that's being, I know, Mr. Kitty, I'm telling him. I know Mr. Kitty is so frustrated, because it's just, okay, and then he wants to get me to get to this certain part, and I will. Because you're delivering comedic messages in some of your stuff, but not in the other. And the thing that I get upset about with this is, like, the message is skewed. You can't just say that things are black and white, I'm a comedian, don't take me seriously, but then tweet about these serious issues like you're reporting the news on something. You can't do that, dude. And then when you offend somebody, if you've offended somebody, listen, we are all human. We all make mistakes. We all make jokes that don't hit. We all do all that, right? He keeps using the defense of he's a comedian, and sometimes the jokes just don't hit, and you keep going in his defense about Papa Gut, okay? If you have offended a group of people this badly that people are still upset with you, like a week or something later, you know, online, just take some sort of accountability and say, hey, I messed up. I'm sorry to Papa Gut, and I shouldn't have done this. But he's like danced around an apology, not really taken any accountability, told Papa Gut he's sorry if Papa Gut felt that way, which is not an apology. And it's just, like, it's really sad to say this, but Def Noodles just takes no accountability for his actions. And that's really disappointing, because I think a lot of people liked him for a long time, right? I think Def Noodles was somebody who people liked to come to for the gossip, for the news, for whatever, in a lighthearted way, right? We didn't take him as like CNN or like whatever, but we also didn't take him for someone who was just like a tabloid, you know? It was kind of like somewhere in the middle, where you knew that he was funny, he had this dry sense of humor and all that, but also you knew that you could kind of watch him for stuff that was actually going on. I'm a perfect example of that. I'm a drama channel. When I wake up in the morning and I look for videos to film, I would oftentimes go to Def Noodles' Instagram page to look at what was going on in the community. And I would know sometimes he's being sarcastic in his message and delivery about what he's talking about, but it still was the news, okay? And so I would oftentimes look at Def Noodles for that. So let's get into the Twitch stream, because Mr. Kitty is about to have a conniption fit over here, okay? Def Noodles went on Twitch the day after his 6-hour-long Twitter space thing where like people were attacking him and stuff. Like I said, if you didn't watch that, catch my last video on it. I talk about the whole thing. I include the closing statements from Papa Gut and Def Noodles in that video. So if you want to hear what they had to say to each other, then check out my last video on this. But when he went on his Twitter or his Twitch stream to kind of address it again the next day, he was with the guy Steven, who he does the podcast with and everything, and there was about maybe 85, 86 people in this Twitch stream, just for reference, okay, because it does play into context with this, okay? This is where I get personally a little bit upset. Def Noodles, and mind you, he probably has no idea who I am, and that's okay. You can have no idea who I am. I'm a small creator. I don't expect you to know who I am. However, he did quote tweet 2 of my tweets, one which has now been deleted, possibly 2, I haven't checked for the other one, but one that has now been deleted by him in reference to this entire scandal. So I know that he's seen my username out there, okay? And the tweet got a lot of action, it got a lot of stuff, so I'm sure he saw the notifications for it, okay? In the Twitch stream, I went in there and I tipped him $20, 20 doll hairs, which is 1,050 bits, okay? I tipped him 1,050 bits for him to acknowledge my question that I had for him in the Twitter space. I was never put on to speak during the Twitter space. For the whole 6 hours, he never put me on to speak. I'm not upset about that. There's probably a lot of people that wanted to speak. I don't care. But what got to me was that I paid $20 to get, because the thing is, you already know how it is. So these big creators, you got to tip them so your message gets seen and so they acknowledge your message. So that's what I did. I didn't tip him $2. By the way, I tipped him $20. I was like, I want him to see this, right? And by the way, nobody else was tipping the entire time. So I tipped him 20 bucks and I asked him a question. I asked him the question of this: would you say that your channel has grown since 2019 when you did your interview about how your channel is operating and what kind of channel that you are on Vice or whatever that website was he did his interview that he wouldn't shut up about? I asked him that and I said, would you agree that your channel has grown since that period of time? Do you expect everyone who watches your content to have seen that interview now that you've grown so much? And then I said, respectfully, I feel like your message is skewed because you deliver serious news, then you deliver satire. And for some people in the audience, it's confusing as to when you're referring to either one. That was my question. He never acknowledged it. And then, and mind you, the stream wasn't going that fast, girl. It wasn't chats just flowing in like crazy. Like you've seen it on like H3 and stuff. They weren't flowing in like that. Okay. Then when the chats were like really slowing down, like not many people were saying stuff, I typed in, I can't believe I tipped him $20. I'm the #1 donator on his channel right now, on his Twitch channel, and he didn't acknowledge my question. Well, he saw that and he said, oh, well, you know, there's a lot going on here. What was your question? And so I asked it again. And I put the same message into the thing and I pressed enter and I sent it. Didn't tip him this time, but I sent it. And he still didn't acknowledge it, because girl, and I could tell that he saw the message and he just didn't acknowledge it. And so for me, listen, I'm not a hater, okay? I'm not a hater. I just have some questions. I don't hate Miss Cutie. Miss has a lot of questions too for Def Noodles. Miss wants to know why he didn't acknowledge my thing when I took $20 out of the cat treat fund to tip him. I know, Miss Kitty, right? Miss is very upset I took $20 out of the cat treat fund to ask Def Noodles these pertinent questions. Miss Kitty gave me permission at the time. She said, Mama, you know what? If it means that we'll get these questions answered, then, you know, take it out of the fund, take it out of the cat treat fund. You know, what we put out into the universe will come back to us. We're going to tip him $20 and it'll come back to us tenfold, Mama, but we'll get the answers we need if we do this. And so I said, okay, Miss, if you're okay, but just know it's coming out of the cat treat fund. And she said, okay, Mama, that's okay, right, Miss? And then he didn't even answer it then. And so then when I saw that he acknowledged the fact that I said, I tipped you $20, you didn't answer my question, he asked me to send it again, so I sent it again. He should have been looking out for the question. But what did he do? He saw the question again, he didn't answer it, and then he ended the Twitch stream very shortly after. It's just very much like a lack of accountability, a lack of taking like responsibility for your actions, and I really don't get down with that. I really honestly just don't. The thing is, Def Noodles Dennis has the ability to be a really, really good creator that can entertain people while providing information to them. He really honestly has that ability, right? And I truly do believe, and this is no hate to his friend Steven, who is in the podcast with him and stuff, I truly do believe that this guy that he's been working with is leading him down a weird path. I don't know if that might be my conspiracy theory, and it might not be like really on base or whatever, like down the right path or whatever, but that's just kind of how I feel. I feel like this guy is kind of like, you know, giving him advice that isn't going to benefit him, because this guy admittedly has nothing to do with the YouTube space or that realm. And I'm sorry, but this is a different beast. Having a YouTube channel and being a YouTuber is different than just being like a regular old comedian, because on YouTube, you are just expected, and this is just the sad truth of it, right? You're expected to uphold yourself in a certain way, to not offend a lot of people. And if you do offend somebody, you're gonna get canceled for it, and you're expected to act a certain way. Now, you can choose to do that or choose to not do that, but just know that if you choose not to do that, your channel is probably not gonna go very far. Miss Kitty is so upset about this. She's whining in the background. I don't know if you can hear her. She's whining. She's super upset about it. She's like, we put $20 in the cat treat fund. The cat treat fund now is missing $20, and we still don't have answers from Dennis. And I feel you, miss. I feel you. I understand. I'm upset too about this, Miss Kitty. I'm upset too. Trust me. That's your cat treat fund. Now what am I supposed to do? So anyway, Miss is super upset over it. But this guy that he's partnered up with, and I don't know how long they've been doing this, to be honest with you. So they've been doing this for a long time. Then maybe just recently this guy's been starting to feed him stuff that he doesn't need to hear. But something has gone askew with him. And the sad truth is that to be successful on YouTube, you have to kind of be a little politically correct and kind of dance around certain things and have to make sure you don't offend people. It's just the truth. Because if you do start offending people left and right, you're going to get canceled. And then, like, they say all cancellations are good, you can only cancel yourself, whatever. But at a certain point, people are just going to stop messing with you, dude. And you're going to be known for all the wrong things. It could be that he doesn't care if he's known for all the wrong things. He's just out there putting out what he wants to put out. And that's fine, I guess, whatever. But I feel like any decent human being doesn't want to have their legacy be that. Because remember what I said about legacy. What you put out here on YouTube is a legacy of sorts for yourself. Your videos are a legacy of sorts. Because when you're gone, people can go back and watch your content and see like what you were, how you were. And so I just find it really disappointing and upsetting that he is just taking no accountability for his actions whatsoever. And I don't know. I mean, the chain of events that occurred with him in that 6-hour Twitter space, and then, you know, that being the day after he quote tweeted a bunch of my stuff that caused a bunch of uproar and people started attacking him from there on out. And then he went into the 6-hour Twitter space, and then from there he did the Twitch stream, and just the entire time he's not taking accountability, dude. Like, accountability is sexy, by the way, okay? Taking accountability and owning your stuff is very sexy, and it's good. It's good and fresh. We love it a lot. He needs to do that. He needs to do it. I don't like the guy that he's friends with, he's partnered up with. I feel like the guy is a bad influence, and maybe not necessarily intentionally, but I feel like the guy just doesn't get it. The guy doesn't get it, and he's listening to the guy a little bit too much, in my personal, humble opinion, from what I can see, you know? And it's just kind of sad. I don't know, this video was just me kind of ranting, I guess, about the entire situation, because I am upset. I'm upset that I tipped him $20 and to get a question asked, to get his attention. No one else was tipping. There wasn't that many people in there where he didn't see it, and he just didn't acknowledge it. And then I called him out on it, and he said, oh, ask me again. And I did ask him again. He still didn't answer it. And that showed me it's because he didn't want to answer it, because he didn't want to hold himself accountable, which is bullshit. I don't know. It's just bullshit. And it's just disappointing to see creators, and we see this time and time again. It's just disappointing to see creators that you respected do things and then have zero remorse for it or care about it in the world, and then you just to lose all respect for them. It's just disappointing to see over and over and over again. This is a really hard space to be successful in, because it takes plain Jane, you know, regular people and pushes them into fame randomly at times, and they're not expecting it. And that kind of stuff changes you. It changes you, and you get to see who the good people are and who the bad people are by who ends up being a crappy person with the amount of recognition and, I guess, quote unquote fame that they get, and who ends up showing, like, you know, the darker side of it, that they're just really not good people, or they've changed into bad people because of everything they've gotten. And I don't know, it's just really disappointing. So, I mean, I don't know. Def Noodles, Dennis, if you're watching this video, if you happen to see it, I asked my question. So I'd love for you to finally address it. I did tip you $20. Like, let me know, what do you think about this? I want you to answer the question. Answer the question. Like, that's all I'm asking. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's video, you guys. Let me know your thoughts on this entire thing going on with Dennis, Def Noodles, in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below. Don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified of all my future videos when they do post. Remember, all Shelby bells ring the bell. And yeah, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, YouTube should be suggesting a couple more down here for you to choose from, so I'd love it if you did that. And aside from that, I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.